Yeah. Okay. So we all Likutei Moharan, Toyer Ches. We hold by Sif Bes in the middle. And we learned so far the Tachlis is Shashua Olam Haba, the pleasure of Olam Haba. And it's impossible for people, human beings, to grasp it, except the tzaddik emes that can grasp, and how much as embedded as you are, in the tzaddik, in the nishma tzaddik, you can also receive a soga of this tachlis in your mind. But the Rebbeinu says that there is another condition to be able to perceive the Shashua Olam Haba. Kfi haforas akas berachmanos. And as much as you undo, as you mitigate, commensurately to how much you mitigate anger with rachmanos. In other words, when a person comes to anger, he should not be poiled with his anger, any kind of achzoris, any anger. In other words, don't let it rip. But exactly the opposite. Sweeten the anger with rachmanos. In other words, you should overcome, you should surge with great rachmanos upon whoever it is that you want to be angry on. In the time of anger, remember your rachamim. It's alluded to that when a person, in the time when he's really angry, he has to sweeten and mitigate the anger with mercy. This particular rachmanas, this action of breaking your nature and forcing yourself to act through rachmanas when you really feel like slashing the other guy's throat.
I wasn't thinking that extreme.
Well,
slash the guy's tires.
Okay, I would say that.
We have to talk.
We gotta talk, yeah. This constructs a crown for the humble, Who are the humble? Those who run away from any kind of honor, any kind of position of authority, and they make themselves like leftovers. You know, what is leftovers? Leftovers is what you didn't want to eat. It's leftover. It's like that in America they used to say that, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, it's meatloaf days. Why is meatloaf days? Because you take all the, whatever is left, all the shirayim, you put them together. That which they called euphemistically great Chaviva's mystery meat. They make themselves like residue, like leftovers. And when they are crowned with the crown of Rachmanis, of compassion, the Kodesh Baruch Hu surrounds and crowns Nishmas Yisrael with chesed, with compassion. We see from this pasuk that chesed v'rachamim can be a crown. It says that crowns you with compassion. with mercy, with charity, and with compassion. So you see, it's shayach, to crown with mercy and compassion. They can become a crown. The Rachmanis becomes the crown of the Anobim, of the humble, of the meek, as they say. Even though meek is a horrible name, that's not exact. That's not what the pasuk means. He says the meek shall inherit the earth. Never says that. He says Anavim Yeshuaretz. The humble it doesn't say the meek. The meek is Shemzalikis. Azai mekabel sakovet v'asro b'al kocham. Then the humble receive the anhoga, the authority, the responsibility to lead, despite themselves. Even though they ran away from the covet, they ran away from covet, but the Rachmanis overcomes them, and from having Rachmanis on the Olam, they agree to lead them. זה בכינס as Chazal said, ביום ההוא יהיה השם צבקות אסתרץ צבי לשאר עמו. Hashem will be a Torah, a crown on the head of every tzaddik. How do you know tzaddik? לשאר עמו. What is שאר עמו? למי שמשים עצמו כשיריים. Those who put themselves like leftovers, with the tzaddikim. So you can see here from the words of the Gemara that the Anavim, the humble, they get the crown. The same thing, the Rachmanis, when a person has Rachmanis when he's angry, that becomes a crown to the Anavim, and they agree to lead the world. Now, when they lead the world, what happens is they grasp the Midas HaMalchus. And when they grasp the Midas HaMalchus, they're holding the Tachlis. As Midas Hashem will explain at length, when we reach Ois Vav, the Malchus is, and they get the Tachlis, which is Shashua Olam Haba, the pleasure of Olam Haba. Then each one, according to as much as he's embedded in the neshama of the tzaddik, he can receive from him also the Tachlis of Shashua Olam, can grasp that. Okay. Now the Rebbe is going into explaining why it is that when a person sweetens his own anger with Rachmanis, it causes the tzaddikim to acquiesce to lead the world, to agree to lead the world. In other words, Moshe Rabbeinu had this, with Moshe Rabbeinu had this, the Nevi'im had that. Talking about, I'm trying, but it's crooked. What can I do? They're giving me trouble. Not really, I'm just kidding, don't worry about it. That which the tzaddik runs away from position of authority and from covet, it doesn't want to lead the world. I mean, why would they think that? Well, they don't know that the people are lost. You don't know the people are lost. What's this? What is this? That notion, they should not take upon themselves to lead the Olam, comes from B'chinas Astoris B'nei Hashem. It is a mitzias that the face of a Kadosh Baruch Hu, which means the active providential conduct of the world, that you see Hashem moving things around this world, is Aladei Me'ut Emunah Shesh B'Yisrael, through the meager amount of Emunah that exists in Am Yisrael. Ki lefi roi v'kfir, because the more heresy there is, chas v'sholom, ken astoras pnei Hashem, this is how much, Hashem hides His face. Ve'ein rotze la'anhig oisam, and He doesn't want to lead Am Yisrael. There's no emunah. You're not going home? Oh, good yourself. Go ahead. You want to go on your own? You want to get on your own? B'kasha, go ahead. Let's see. And the Hashem hides His face. Then the world, one's life is led through happenstance to be a whole. והסתור הזו יש מבחינת כעסו וחרון אפו. That store, that hiding, that concealment is a representation and manifestation of the anger and the wrath of Hashem. About the avodah zarah that comes about through idol worship. כמאמר as Chazal said, כל זמן שיש avodah zarah בעולם חרון אף בעולם. As long as there is wrath in the world, there is idol worshipping in the world, there's wrath in the world. Even though there may not be, in particular, avodah zarah mamish, but the emunah is weak. אז גם כן אחרון אף הסתרוס לפי התמעטוס האמונה. אחרון אף, the anger, and ממילא, the concealment of Hashem's providential conduit is commensurate with the shrinkage of the Elu. מחמד שחרון פה כרגע, the duration of the Erev HaKadosh Baruch Hu is a nanosecond, is a split, a mashahu. It's not a כמו שכוסף כרגע בפה. רגע is not a minute. רגע is not a second. רגע is a point in time which is equivalent to a point, a dot in geometry. A point in geometry has no space, doesn't take any space. Point in geometry is just a reference point. This is where it's at. But being that the pen or whatever it is it's a Gashmic thing, so it has width, it takes space, so it looks as if the dot takes space. But really, a dot, geometrically, doesn't have any space. It's just the same, this is where it's at. It's just a pointer, of a definition of where this thing is in what you call the width and length and height, continuum. This is where it's at. There's no space to it. Rega is not a daka, it's not shnia, it's not chalokim, like we're saying on Shabbos, when the Rosh Chodesh is. It's a rega, means it's a point in time. It exists, but it doesn't take up any time. It's not measurable in time. Rega vapo, it's a and being that this is רגע באפו. על ידי זה אין נרגש, that's why you don't really feel Hashem's wrath except when there is ממש עבודת זרים. אבל בלא עבודת זרים, אלא בכיסו בשלום מסיים. It's not that there is mamish idol worshiping. But it's just a lack of emunah. אז בוודאי אין הנרגש מעט אחרון, אף שבחלק הרגע. Because if there's avodas elilim, the anger is kerega. When the infraction is much subtler, and it's just deficiency in emunah, and it's not even a rega. It's a part of a rega. It's a fraction of a rega. So it's impossible to discern. And it's not obvious that it is Hashem who is hiding in place. But it is there. It's an undeniable reality. אבל ההשתלשלות של חרון אף שבא לצדיקים, but when the anger trickles down when it comes to the tzaddikim, אזי מסתירים פניהם מהאוילום ולא רוצים לגס האוילום. They hide themselves from the world, from the people. They don't want to lead them. That's because they're angry with the people, and they're upset with the people, and they don't want to lead them. It's because the anger of Hashem is manifesting itself through them. Since the actual anger of Hashem is a little shebelittle, in a part of the rega, so mimele, they don't attribute, they don't attribute the fact that they hide themselves from the olam in anger. They figure the reason why they do it is because they're small, because they're unworthy. Where am I should go to lead? I can lead them, I cannot lead them. They make themselves like an afterthought, like a they say, you know why I don't lead them? Because I'm not worthy of doing it. I can't do it. The truth is that they also do not feel the anger of Hashem. It's the little of the little. Moshe Rabbeinu belittled himself to go to Mitzrayim to save Am Yisrael. אז אמר, ניסית הקודש ברוך הוא, מי אנוכי כי אלך אל פרעה? Who am I to go to Paro? ושאר דבור, and the rest of the words, the rest of things that he said to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And then he said, Vayichar Raf Hashem and Moshe. And Hashem got upset with Moshe. Vayichar Raf Hashem ben Moshe. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu ordered him, go to Mitzrayim to get him. What the Tanakh, it's very interesting. Rashi says on the spot, any place in the Torah that it says Vayichar Raf Hashem, that Hashem got angry, there are bad consequences that came out of it. Any place when it says Vayichar Raf Hashem, oh boy, what's happening? This is always a consequence. There's a dear price to pay for that. Except this place. We didn't find any place that Moshe Rabbeinu had to pay, had to suffer the consequences of the anger of Hashem and him. What goes on? So then it explains. Vayichar Raf Hashem and Moshe, it means, it explains, it's not saying that HaKadosh Baruch Hu was angry with Moshe. What it is, it explains why Moshe Rabbeinu didn't want to go to Mitzrayim. That belittling, that Moshe Rabbeinu didn't want to be the leader, that's because the anger of Hashem has trickled into him. That was the manifestation of the anger of Hashem and Moshe. So it's true, even though through the believing of the Emunah, it causes Charonah, it causes anger by Hashem. And this trickles down and manifests itself in the tzaddikim. And they don't want to leave the world. But, but when a person comes into anger and he sweetens the anger with Rachmanas, through your Rachmanas, you cause Rachamim in the Shemayim. What you do is that you mitigate and you sweeten the anger of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And in Meila, what happens is, אז נמצא כחרון אף שיש בתוך הצדיקים דעה זאת הרחמונס. That, what it is, that you're nipping כביכול the חרון אף HaKadosh Baruch Hu in the bud. It doesn't trickle down into the tzaddikim. And that Rachmanas causes a surge of Rachmanas in the tzaddikim themselves. And then the Rachmanas overcomes them. And Rachamim al Olam, and they have Rachmanas on them, they have compassion on them. When Yisratzim b'ayim ha'gosei, and they're willing, and they accept upon themselves that leadership, with this compassion, they'll lead the world. And it is said about the Geula, who's going to be the Goyal, who's going to be the Savior, who's going to be the Mashiach. The one who is Rachmanas, and then he's the one who's going to lead them. Kodesh Baruch Hu is the chief Merachim on Am Yisrael. He will lead them. So you see that in order to lead, you need Rachmanas. So you see that Rachmanas, that's the real crown. That the Rachmanas is the thing that crowns them. This is what Rabbi Yonasan said, Kartalisa de Mikbae Avenim Toilis. Kartalisa, Rashi says Argos. Argos means a crate. Argos, the Bchinas Roiges. Grammatically, the word Argos has the word Roiges in it, which is anger. Argos, the Roiges in it. Avenim Toilis are those precious stones that were set in it. The Bchinas HaTorah, that's the crown. That's the Rachmanas. Which comes to tell you that the Rachmanas is set in the anger. Because Roiges, anger comes when there is a diminishing of the Emunah in Am Yisrael. When a person mitigates the Kaas with Rachmanas, he causes that the roiges of the tzaddikim will all return to Rachman. Then the very mute emunah, the very believing of the emunah, before it was a reason why the tzaddikim refused to lead Am Yisrael, because of the anger that get into them, they figured that they're not worthy. Now, when the anger of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but really what it was a concealed anger of HaKadosh Baruch Hu that trickled into them. But it was so fine, it was so subtle, they didn't recognize it, for what it was. But now that the person stymied his anger, and fakir, was Pearl Rachamim at that particular time, he nipped the anger of Kodesh Baruch Hu in the bud. And Rachmanas came upon the tzaddikim. And now, the Miyat Emunah, the diminishing of the Emunah in Am Yisrael, causes the tzaddikim to take down Hamra. It causes tzaddikim to become Anhigim. Because they said, because now they're saying, since there's so little Emunah in Am Yisrael, we have the obligation to accept that honor because Baruch Hashem, we are strong in Amunah. Like that famous give and take between Rabbeinu and Rav Nosson. When Rav Nosson's father-in-law told him he wanted him to be a Rav, a Rav in one of the town. So one of the things so the Rebbe says, Rav Nosson asked the Rebbe if he should be the Rav. The Rebbe said, of course. So Rav Nosson said, but I'm afraid to make a mistake. So the Rebbe said, who should be afraid? Who should be a Rav? Somebody who's not afraid to make a mistake. Who should be the manik? Somebody who doesn't have emunah. The olam has very little emunah, so who should be the manik? Somebody who has emunah. You know you have emunah, you should be the manik. What's this? What? So because they don't have emunah, they should have a manik who doesn't have emunah. Who should be a manik? Someone without emunah. Adaba, because the olam doesn't have emunah, dafka you should be, because you have emunah b'shleimus. You have to be much in the emunah b'klal Yisrael. So the anger itself eventually causes rachman. That's what it says, the algas, the kartalita, the kavim, they had studded in it precious gems, which is the rachmanas. And the algela, mine, the kavim, nika birsha. They had fish around it, swimming around it, called birsha. Because birsha is a b'chinas emuno. Birsha is euphemism for emuno. K'mama, tachas anatzos yalem loish. Except the natzos, the thorns, Yale Broish. Who is the Broish? Broish is Mordechai. So Mordechai is called Broish. And also, what is Mordechai also called? It's called Yehudi. Mordechai Yehudi is called the Yid. Ish Yehudi. Why Ish Yehudi? Hashem Shekofa Bavodah Salimu. Because he was a denier of Avodah Zarah. K'mama, Otenu Zar, Kol HaKofer Ba'akum, anybody who denies Avodah Zarah, Niko Yehudi. So since Broish is hence of Mordechai, and Mordechai denied Avodah Salilim, so therefore Birsha is therefore a Rebbe's euphemism for Emunah. This Birsha fish, this Emunah fish, around the argas with the gems, it alludes to the fact that the Emunah surrounds the Rachmanas. Because it's the diminishing of Emunah that causes the anger, which is the opposite of Rachmanas. So Minela, Michlav Lav, if diminishing the Emunah causes anger, adding Emunah brings Rahman. Ad Kan